Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. I'm Patrick. I'm the worship associate for today. John Cullinan is off today, and today I'm delighted to welcome, once again, Wade. I almost caught you, Ann Wheelock and Wade Marsh. Wade Wheelock and Ann Marsh, who are our presenters today, and I'm very, very pleased to welcome them. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person and the interconnection of us all. Whomever you are and whomever you love, wherever you are at this moment, and wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. If you are joining us for the first time, I invite you to talk with any of us after the service and return next week to speak with Reverend John. You may also speak with Reverend Tina Dio, who is also our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and to join us in the fellowship hall after the service for coffee and conversation. If you're watching online, please sign our virtual guest book. There's a link in the notes below the video. Again, welcome, and let us start.
Well, as Anne lights the chalice, symbol of our free faith, I invite you to consider these words of the acclaimed American poet Annie Dillard. She gives a compelling reason for why we are here. Why we are here. Why we are here. She writes, "We are here to abet creation and to witness to it, to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature so that creation need not play to an empty house." Our opening hymn, number 188, is perhaps one of the favorite among Unitarian Universalists. It's a beautiful tune for sure, but what do the lyrics mean? I think I know, based on my career as a college professor of comparative religions before going into the UU ministry, the author of those lyrics, Rumi, is a Sufi, a member of a Muslim monastic order. And here in this hymn, he invites others to join him as monks in his devotional practices. But he invites lay people, that is, non-monks, to join him as well. Come, come, whoever you are. We can all become wanderers, worshipers, lovers of leaving. Leaving what? Do you ever ask yourselves that when you sing this song? Well, anyway, from now on, you will have at least one explanation. Leaving the ordinary, everyday world so we can go on an inward journey, a spiritual journey, not a caravan of despair, to become closer to God. Please join in the affirmation whose full words will be in front of you momentarily. I invite, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. Please be seated. We have some candles lit and one statement written in our book for lovers of music. May we gather up all the joys and sorrows we have brought with us here today, those expressed for others to share, and the many kept quietly, treasured in the depths of our minds and hearts, and honor them all through the way we care for one another. Let us be in silence together. And today we have a different meditation song, number 94, What Is This Life? And this is my favorite hymn, so do well by it. So I don't know if being my favorite hymn is a recommendation for any of you or not. The lyrics were written by William Davies, a Welsh poet, and can be found in his 1907 book, excuse me, Autobiography of a Super Tramp. That's right, he considered himself a tramp, a hobo, and he spent much of his life riding the rails and, well, just staring out at the simple world of nature around him. What a great lesson, what a great source of wisdom for us all to look to. So let us rise as we are willing and able, and smile or laugh as the lyrics move us, and sing number 94, What Is This Life?
Thank you. It's good. We invite anybody who'd like to come and sit any closer than you are to the story. This one has some visual aids, so that you want to make sure you could be able to see. Yeah, you might want to get up a little closer. Well, once upon a time, there was a strong and beautiful tiger. But a mean and cruel man captured the tiger and put her in a cage. he put the cage near his house, which was in the jungle, and every day he would bring the tiger a bowl of water and a little bit of food. One day, the tiger looked into her bowl of water and saw her reflection and said, "My goodness, I am a beautiful tiger. I wish I had a bigger bowl so I could see even more of my beautiful reflection."
Well, when the man heard her say this, he would lie and he would tell her, "No, you're not beautiful, you're ugly. You're a pitiful creature. You will never ever wear the latest fashions like Taylor Swift or Beyonce." But sadly, the tiger would believe the lies the man told her.
Well, sometimes after she ate her food, she felt a surge of energy and strength go through her body, and she thought, "Ha, I must be a strong and powerful tiger. I at least deserve an appearance on Survivor."
Well, when the man heard her say this, he would lie to her and tell her, "No, you are not strong. You are puny. You are a pitiful creature. You, if you ever got on Survivor, would be the first one voted off the island." And sadly, the tiger believed what the man told her. But then one day, when the man was nowhere around, a lion wandering through the jungle happened to go past this cage, and he saw the tiger, and he spoke to her and he said, "Beautiful and powerful tiger, what are you doing lying about in that cage?"
Please, don't make fun of me. I know that I am neither beautiful nor powerful.
"I'm not making fun of you," said the lion. "You are indeed the most beautiful and powerful tiger I have ever seen. And you could easily get out of that cage."
Really? You think that I could break out? Really?
"Oh, quite easily, I should think."
Well, the tiger wasn't so sure. I mean, she had spent a lot of her life being told what a weak and pitiful creature she was. But suddenly, she felt a surge of strength and power. And she walked back and forth in her cage, and almost without thinking, she leapt against the door, and it opened with no resistance. Once the tiger was outside, she was amazed. That door had no lock on it. I spent a huge chunk of my life in a cage, and the door had no lock.
Well, the lion looked at her with soft brown eyes and said, "Those kinds of traps don't need locks. It is the lies we believe in that keep us in cages. But the truth will set us free." And so here's a great lesson that Unitarian Universalists believe in. Don't let anyone say hurtful, untrue things about who you truly are. We are all beautiful tigers.
this desert, through the deepest snow. Forward, always forward I go. What a journey it has been, and the end is not in sight, but the stars are out tonight, and they're bound to guide my way. When they're shining on my life, I can see a better day. I'll not let the darkness in. What a journey it has been. Forward, always forward. Onward, always up. Catching every drop of hope in my empty cup. What a journey it has been, and the end is not in sight, but the stars are out tonight, and they're bound to guide my way. When they're shining on my life, I can see a better day. I'll not let the darkness in. What a journey it has been.
Thank you, Elisa. Well, the newsletter description for today's service, called What's in Your Wallet, apparently didn't get out to everybody because that's the way it works around here. So this may be news to you, but it draws on a credit card campaign from over a decade ago that featured as its spokespeople a band of rambunctious but fun-loving Vikings who drew on the superior benefits of their card to explore the modern world. How many of you recall this? Oh, okay. Well, maybe there's hope for this sermon after all. Because others of you might have been totally perplexed and left cold by this reference, but you can see a number of examples on YouTube videos under the heading, What's in Your Wallet? For example, the medieval era lifestyle of the Vikings and their liberal credit card allowed them to walk their small throng of sheep through a car wash and still earn travel miles. And they reveled in boarding their plane, even though they had to ditch much of their habitual armaments that they were used to carrying with them, had to ditch all of those at the TSA security gate. Well, it led me to wonder, what list of special benefits do we have in our wallets, especially benefits that are particular to Unitarian Universalists? Well, let me look. Let me see if I remembered. Oh, well, here are all my records of COVID shots, boosters, and other assorted things. Oh, and that warning to medical people. Oh, and this is important. My membership cards to the Albuquerque Zoo and Botanic Gardens, I need those. But, oh, wait a second, in the back here. Ah, a wallet-sized card. What do Unitarian Universalists believe? All in one wallet-sized card. This is currently what's being passed out. If you have one, you probably got it here recently. And I am sure, yes, I'm sure that we're not the only religious group who would have wallet-sized cards like this. Well, the Democratic Socialists of America had a card that I carried around for a little, given to me by someone else. So this sort of thing might be useful as a reminder from time to time, but this particular summation is not even the official listing contained in the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Those can be found near the front of each of our currently active hymnals. And where are the hymnals for this church? That's right. They're not with us. They're not close to hand. They're right outside the door in a bookcase. And these official versions, somewhere near the front of each of those active hymnals, are slated for revision and rewarding this summer at our General Assembly anyway. So stay tuned. But for the time being, I am one of those who truly believe, for good reason and not just because of blind faith in my religion, that in these purposes and principles, as we now call them, there are at least some examples that I promised in that newsletter some of you managed to read, of a listing of dependable, unimpeachable foundations for good living that I've discovered from around the world in different ages. Let's just take the first one. We, the member congregations of the UUA, covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. That's one of the things our activities table is coloring on today. Well, the inherent worth and dignity of every person is the hallmark of the modern era. The inherent worth and dignity of every person. On its noble foundation, I pin my hopes for humanity, hope for and faith in human progress. Since the time of the Enlightenment, roughly beginning in the 1600s, it marks the distinctive tone of liberal civilization. And we know all civilizations, even today, are not liberal. Liberating itself from outmoded and untrue ways of thinking that hold us back from realizing our full potential. Well, our bylaws go on to say that the living tradition we share draws from many sources. Well, here is another bedrock truth. In our quest for finding trustworthy spiritual values, for our constant quest to improve upon our commitments, we Unitarian Universalists commit to drawing on lessons that could be found around the world and in every age. We are not stuck with one supposedly infallible and unchanging statement of truth. Our search for truth is dynamic, wide-ranging, and ongoing. Well, one of those important sources for me are the religions of Asia. I commend those not as an exclusive or privileged way, but as a good first step beyond the Western traditions in which many of us have been steeped. One that presents us with a compelling understanding of the basis for the whole universe and our place within it is the primordial Chinese religion of Taoism. Taoism provided China with a foundation secured in the sacredness of the natural order. Well, envision a traditional Chinese landscape painting. A tiny human figure can be found wandering through the overwhelming vista of mountains, forests, and rivers. The Tao, the all-pervasive way of nature, we are told, is our innermost self, our truest self, which finds greatest contentment by dwelling peacefully, simply in the natural world. Well, conceiving of a unity to the whole world, of a single source and common principle to all that there is, makes a lot of sense to me. And so does our connection to it as offspring of the universe. Taoism has helped me personally find the natural order not just a place of beauty and refreshment, but a revelation of an underlying holiness. I may very well have reached such a conclusion on my own sooner or later, but Taoism did what religions are supposed to do. Point me to a vision of reality that was enriching and uplifting, an insight passed on with faith and hope from seers of another age. Well, an even more basic and more abstract understanding of the unity of the whole universe is to be found in the Indian religion of Hinduism from the same time, around 500 before the Common Era. Thoughtful sages there, less hippie-like than Taoists. If you want to think of what Taoists are like, just think of old hippies. Well, aren't we all now? Anyway, old hippies. But these folks, these sages in India, came up with an insight into the one underlying essence of the cosmos that had more of the texture of pure air, a still light, instead of the Taoist trees and gentle wind. Meditation rather than eating healthy but crunchy granola. In one famous formulation, a teacher asked his pupil to bring him one of the tiny seeds from the great spreading fig tree, split it in half. Now, what do you see? Nothing at all. The teacher concludes, verily, that finest essence which you do not perceive, from which the great fig tree arises, that which is the finest essence, this whole world has that as its soul. That is reality. That is the Atman, the soul of everything. And that are you, my dear pupil. That is your true identity. Well, when I first came to Los Alamos, the segue looks challenging here, but when I first came to Los Alamos, I looked across the canyon towards the Los Alamos Neutron Science Center. How many of you have a good idea what a neutron is? Well, there are bunches of them right over there. Well, they're everywhere. It was over there along the truck route, I was told. That's where they were experimenting, and experiments were being conducted at the Neutron Science Center to try to determine some of the fundamental particles of matter. The ancient Hindu teachers had taught that those were fundamental constituents of our own selves. And I thought about that. Well, then go and take a class at the planetarium at Peak. These insights are on the larger scale science can now envision. They are also the basic components of our cosmos viewed from a different perspective. Well, here are two examples in the most modern fashion possible of how we can still say with the ancient Hindus, that are you, my dear pupil. Here are the concrete sources for us to be able to say today that we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, for the universe tells me so. Well, our own Unitarian Universalist tradition has brought such an insight into its own fold, whether from touching early translations of Hindu text or the innate wisdom that broke forth in this American sage Ralph Waldo Emerson in 1836 was able to write, "Let us learn the revelation of all nature and thought, that the highest dwells within us, that the sources of nature are in our own minds. Every moment when the individual feels invaded by it is memorable." Well, where do we go from here? An experience of identity with the world leads to what? Perhaps an awareness of other holy souls around us that deserve our attention and our care. And many religions tell us to give our talents over to being good people, helping create a world of greater justice and compassion. Perhaps my favorite quotation out of the Western religions is this: "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind." That is found in both the Jewish Torah and the book of Leviticus and the Christian New Testament and the Gospels of Mark and Luke. Is it not a good thing to have complete and fervent devotion to that which you consider God? Could be a bit iffy. That could lead to a hard-headed fanaticism. But both in Hebrew and Christian scriptures, that directive is paired with a complementary view that turns it into one of the greatest teachings of history. That is the first and great commandment, but a second is like it: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Caring for others is at the heart of these great monotheistic religions. They are the twin co-equal commitments for adherence. And what flows inevitably and naturally from those dual maxims is a way of acting in the world. Not just right belief, but also proper behavior towards fellow humans. It is summarized in the scriptural golden rule found in 2 Gospels: do to others what you would have them do to you. Is not this golden rule worthy of being on our list of universal principles worthy of our reverence? Well, consider this statement from Confucius, the Chinese philosopher sage from around 500 before the Common Era. "Never do to others what you would not like them to do to you." He coupled this with the admonition, "The good person loves people." Without a claim of revelation from a divine being, Confucius reached this conclusion about what is required to live a worthy life. His focus on concern for a social order that worked for everyone still permeates Chinese society today. Well, Buddhism also came to express an ideal of devotion to the welfare of all humanity. In fact, the welfare of all living beings. It took a while of marinating in the beliefs of reincarnation over and over again in a universe comprised of many world systems that came and went in their own life cycles. But by about the beginning of the Common Era, approximately 0 on our calendar, the Buddhists had come to aspire to taking on the enormous goal of becoming full-fledged Buddhas, every single one of them. To accomplish this, you must first become a bodhisattva, a Buddha-to-be, who led a life, several lives to be sure, fully given over to helping others. In one of the grandest ideals ever envisioned anywhere in the world throughout history, a bodhisattva would set out on this path by making this vow: I take upon myself the burden of all suffering. I am resolved to do so. I will endure it. And why? At all cost, I must bear the burdens of all beings. I have made the vow to save all beings. The whole world of living beings I must rescue from the terrors of birth, old age, sickness, death, and rebirth. Well, that is the last item on my personal hand-curated, as folks like to boast nowadays, selection of dependable beliefs and practices that could guide us in our search for uplifting lives. May we always be kept afloat, prevented from sinking down by the conviction that there are positive ways to move forward. I have always felt the job of religion and all spiritual practice is to present an optimistic and encouraging path we can follow moving into the future. If religious leaders can't say encouraging words from whatever pulpit, they should immediately go home and take a nap and don't come back until you're ready to give an inspiring message.
Thank you, Wade. Well, as we prepare to return to the regular world, we have an opportunity to give a part of ourselves to the greater community. Our offering is an opportunity to share what we have with the wider world. Our receiving partner for this month is the Esperanza Shelter. All of the offers given in the baskets this morning will be given to them. You may place cash or check in the basket as it passes, or in the offering box at the back of the sanctuary, or by the Givelify app. Link is on the screen. May the music lift your spirit, and may what you give bring you joy. All right, a few announcements before we go. A lot of the same from last week, but a couple of updates. After the service today will be the budget forum. I highly encourage you to attend. And then next weekend, next Sunday, May 5th, after the service is the annual meeting. This is very, very important to attend so that you may vote and your voice be heard. Other announcements are the Women's Retreat, Saturday, May 11th. Sign-ups are still available until May 5th. See Reverend Tina Dio for more information on that. Sunday, May 12th, we'll have a Sunday forum, our monthly forum. Barbara Gabiode will be presenting. And of the UU Church of Silver City to speak about challenges in the border area. All church outdoor mural painting, Sunday, May 19th. Bring your lunch. And then finally, Dr. Seuss Summer Camp, June 24th to 28th. Consider signing up today. Further announcements may be found on the back of your order of service or on our website. Please see those for details. And now, if you will rise in body and spirit for closing hymn number 6.
So what's in your wallet? Some card you can pull out as needed to remind you of a fulfilling way forward, whether a literal pocket card or a remembrance of